Greetings and hallucinations to all you folks out there. I've got one of the highest rated games I've seen in a long time, and it's on a new map to boot, so this should be an awesome time today. Let's go ahead and introduce the players and we will dive directly into the action without any of that crazy talking stuff beforehand. On the northern side, we have Silver Chronos taking Aeon. Zlo is also taking Aeon. Good to see the evil Russian back online. We've got Belated Cube taking Cybern for his faction, and Clinch taking UEF. So a nice little faction mix. No love for the no, hold on. Which one are they missing? Seraphim. No love for the Seraphim on the northern side. On the southern side, we have HZH. He is taking Cybern. And then we've got Double Seraphim for Blodir in the customary purple, and Jolly. And then on the right-hand side, we have Siava. I do not know who that is. I'm tempted to say Ithalis, just judging from the ranking and the clan tag. I may just up and call him Ithalis, because that is way easier to say than Siava. But, yeah, if I'm mistaken, I do apologize, and someone will surely correct me in the comments. So this is a new map. It was made by Blodir, and it does have a lot of reclaim scattered around in the form of rocks. So not anything concentrated, not any huge boost, but surely enough reclaim to get you off the ground on an aggressive early build. And then we have two players facing off across this bridge in the center of the map. Nice little early play from that Mech Marine. It is going to get picked up by a scout though, so I think it will get taken down fairly easily. Then on the right and left, we have single lanes with a few mechs in every position to fight over. So this is pretty much a straightforward, right down the middle, aggressive land war. And it looks like these areas are just barely wide enough to prevent full coverage with a single point defense. Maybe if you put a dead in the middle. So I don't think we'll see too terribly much of a turtle game, but that is yet to be seen. I have not actually played this map. This is the first I've seen of it, so we're just going to find out together how the thing actually plays. Lots of manual reclaim going down for Zlo. Like he is picking up the large rocks out of the bunch, zipping right through, and he'll probably clean up with another engineer later. That is a good tactic for getting that mass online early. And just taking a glance at the teams, it does appear that the southern side has a ranking advantage because Blodir and Jolly are on the same team. Both of these guys are massive eco whores. So the northern team will need to end this quickly if they have a good chance of winning, if they're going to have a good chance. Because I just feel like watching both of these guys play, in my experience, they're stronger late game. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. So there's a T1 bomber online that is going to be heading north for Blodir. Not exactly a extremely early bomber, but you know, 3 minutes. It's always good to have some air online. And that's going to be answered by double bombers from the north and a bomb for HCH. Everybody is loving their T1 bombers, and that is a good thing. I've already got a T1 anti-air online. That bomber is going to clear 4 engineer kills before it gets taken down though, so it was well worth the mass. Now we have this bomber trying to land a shot, but it is not going to make it. Move orders being placed all over the place. And it looks like that interceptor is going to be able to take it out before it does much damage, if any. That engineer, if he stops, yeah, that's going to be a clean dodge. Alright, so much for that bomber. We get 1 engineer kill there, nothing too impressive, but I think before the interceptors come around, it should be able to tag 1 more. And more bombers coming in from Clinch. I think the only person who is not... Well, nope, there's the brown bomber. Alright, so everyone has built a bomber. I hope everyone's had a good time. Everybody's had their one. From this point on, we'll see who picks up the actual bomber spam. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Within the 4-minute mark, between 3 and 4 minutes, all 8 players built the T1 bomber. And yeah, they all got at least 1 kill as far as I can tell. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a land spam setting up for the northern team. Looks like we have 3 and 4 land factories, 6 going down for Silver Chronos. I would bet money on the fact that he is going for an aggressive ACU play. Possibly we will see some Chrono Dampener later on. That would be fun. And then on the right-hand side, we have 3 land factories and a 4th building. Although I think that bomber is going to put an end to those plans. We've got 2 factories, 1, 2, and 3. So the spam is strong with the north side. Hopefully that will play out for them. Like I said before, these narrow... Oh, that's sneaky right there. As long as it doesn't get scouted, which it just did, so it's not going to matter. That is actually a really cool play for land scouts, because scouts will pick that up and they will see that as a point excuse me. See that as a point defense pattern, and people will kind of shy away from it. And if you're really, really lucky, someone will focus fire T1 artillery on it for 4,000 damage worth of wasted time, and that could be downright hilarious. Kaboom. Use that crash damage to your advantage. 100 damage should never go to waste. Okay, so Silver Kronos is picking up the gun upgrade. I think we can safely assume that this is going to be an aggressive ACU combo. He's going to pull up his scouts, he's going to pull up Auroras, and then he's going to kite the ever-living hell out of everything with the long-range Auroras and long-range ACU. HCH needs to get a gun upgrade, or preferably T2 and a Cerberus down before too much longer. Otherwise, he is going to be in a bad spot once that ACU upgrade comes online. We'll have to see which came first. I think that would be the range upgrade coming online, if I'm not totally mistaken. And spam is still coming strong from Belated Cube, pushing his Mantis advantage to the max. I was kind of hoping that someone would use their Mantis assisted upgrade, but it doesn't look like anyone is going to take advantage of that ability. And it's a drop. Looks like we're picking up... Ah, yes, there's reclaim on top of the Mesa. That is what those engineers are after. I was looking at it. I'm like, why? Why is this happening? And Jolly getting himself in the middle of a Mantis swarm. And as I've said in many, many games, this is exactly where you do not want to be. Your ACU starts getting tripped up by all of the T1 units. You can't get away. You end up taking a ton of damage to the face. The only problem here is that I don't think Belated Cube actually has enough units to follow through. He might be able to pursue Jolly all the way south for a mutual KO, but with the help of Bloodthrones coming in, I don't know how well this is going to work out. He does have another small Mantis swarm moving in, but it's not going to be enough to actually clear out this mess of purple coming in from the left. And Belated Cube is going to back up a little bit. Jolly throwing down a factory to hide behind. This can soak damage if he can position his ACU with this in between. And I think, yes, that is the end of Belated Cube's push. He is going to have to get the hell out of Dodge if he's going to live to see another day. He's down to about 7k health, dipping below it now, and he has got a lot of Zooey fire coming in on him. He does not want to stand still. Oh, that was a beautiful overcharge right there. That was about 6 or 7 units in one spot. Well, yeah, 6. 6 units in one overcharge. Nicely done there. It looks like the strongest Air Force at the moment does belong to Silver Kronos, and this is exactly the kind of play that you want to see from an Aeon player. On the right, we have our first T2 land. That is going to be a handful of Rhino tanks moving towards the front, and we do have a TAC missile launcher online for Bloodthrones. That is going to load up a couple in the chamber, and then I'm sure he's going to start firing on the northern side, but I think that thing has been scouted because we do have TMD going down in the north bases. As long as they can get that online quickly, they should be completely and totally fine. So the deal with Aeon is, as long as you can maintain air control to keep the bombers off of your Auroras, you can pretty much run completely over anything that comes your way up until the T2 late or early T3 stage, as long as you have that aggressive commander out front. And the hoplite is normally a super great option versus a gun commander because it outranges basically everything. But it only outranges the Aeon commander with gun upgrade by 2, I think. So technically, it does outrange it. Beautiful catch by that Aeon TMD. If you make one slight misstep with your hoplites, just like that, an overcharge is going to be the name of the game for your unit. Now, Silver Kronos is soaking a lot of damage here, and we have multiple point defense coming online. He is diving deeper. I get the feeling that we're about to see an ACU go nuclear, because he is just taking way too many hits on that. He's down to 5k, and we have 75 on HCH's commander, and we're still seeing some fire from the Cerberus turrets. Now this is a good idea right here. What HCH is doing is he is positioning his commander directly in the line of fire between the Cerberus turret and the ACU to buy, oh, there goes, oh, not quite. Okay, to buy his point defense some more time to fire, because if you can soak damage with your ACU, that point defense is going to throw down a ton of damage and hopefully allow you to get out of the situation alive. Now, Silver Kronos is down to 15, HCH on 8, and this is another advantage of the Aeon gun upgrades. The Aeon commander will actually be able to stand outside the range of the ACU nuke and hammer that ACU to death. You can do it with the other factions as well, but it's a lot slower process because you got to tiptoe around the very, very edge to avoid that death. HCH is not looking good right now. We have the Auroras bearing down on the build power. Overall, this is looking like it's setting up to be a fail. Belated Cube, 1700 health and downward trending. He's got T2 units bearing down on him. Ilshiva's bringing along some brutal damage to the fight, and Zui's hitting from range, and Zlo needs to get out of the way so Belated Cube can freaking dodge, because if he doesn't, he is going to go nuclear and take a large chunk of Zlo's health as well. Ilshiva's building up in the back. That's the one bad thing about that T2 rush, is that while you have, well, let me rephrase that. You lose your unit count while you're swapping to T2 because you can't push T2 units that fast on T1 Eco. So you have to wait for it to scale up so that you have a good swarm of Ilshivas. And if you send your first 2 or 3 in to try and deny a commander, then they're just going to get overcharged, and that loses you your T2 advantage. Seeing a T1 anti-air turret going down, there's still several interceptors in the air, but I'm sure that Silver Kronos is very well aware of the fact that he could at any time be air sniped because his health is so low. Although not really anymore, because he picked up some veterancy. He's back up to 74k. Clinch is holding, trying to build TMD versus a Cybern mobile missile launcher assault. That is a waste of mass if I ever saw one. Silver Kronos throwing down that T1 anti-air, and then he needs to get a radar online so he can actually see what's happening. He does have a T1 land scout, which is a good thing. A very good thing. He does have some intel, but that advanced notice from the T1 radar is always awesome. He's going to start capping these mexes in a few minutes, I'm sure. Right now, he's sucking up the huge amount of mass in that T2 HQ. Well, I say it's huge, but that is a relative observation because we're still technically in the early T2 phase, and T2 HQ is a fair chunk of mass at this point in the game. Looks like we're trying to see a run-by over here. A lot of strikers trying to skirt these rhinos, but if there's one thing rhinos are good at, it is obliterating T1 units on level terrain. You can see those bolters firing away, very high rate of fire and retargeting speed, so they have very little overkill, and they're able to just slaughter those groups by the dozen. Silver Kronos is actually going to push up. Blodier throwing down a T2 point defense with a little assistance from HCH. What little assistance he can push with that one mass income. And that T2 point defense is going to be able to lay down a little bit of cover fire on Silver Kronos. Silver Kronos does have it scouted, so he will be able to overcharge it if he gets close enough. But hey, any DPS that you can bring to bear on an oncoming commander is going to be helpful, as long as you're not vetting it up. That is the clincher. Speaking of clinch, he is still under fire trying to build these TMD. I think he's given up. Mobile Shield is trying to take some of the blows off his commander, but he is going to have to retreat before too much longer. The problem with TMD versus MMLs for Cybern, one Cybern mobile missile launcher is better than one UEF TMD, and it will kill it, and it costs less mass. So TMD building is a losing battle right from the get-go. It's a greater mass investment for an inferior defensive unit. About the only thing the TMD is good for is preventing long distance snipes. As far as MMLs go, you're better off building T1 bombers to kamikaze strike them and hopefully take them out. The damage is worth it even if you lose the bombers. Or, like is happening right here, you lure all the mobile missile launchers out without their accompaniment, but it does look like hoplites are on the move towards the front, and then you slaughter them with your own units. So there's a multitude of ways to deal with them. You just got to kind of think outside the box. Silver Chrono's soaking a lot of damage over here from these point defense, and he does have a... no, that is 4 vet. I thought it was 5. He's got 1 more vet to go for HP gain, and after that he will be slam out of luck if he starts getting low on HP again. Here comes Mercies. I don't see any anti-air. This is going to be horrible. No! Not quite enough. 25. Here comes a Mercy. No! Okay. He killed HCH, but that's not a terrible loss. And there's a T1 anti-air just snagging that last Mercy. The nuke left Bloodier with like 300 health. That last Mercy, if it had connected, would have taken Bloodier as well. I thought that was going to end horribly for the Southern team. I hate to say thankfully somebody died, but thankfully it was the guy who was already missing his base that died, because if Bloodier had been the one that died, I think that would have been GG for the Southern team right there without really a whole lot the other team could do about it. Bloodier throwing down a shield generator. Good thing to get online. It really is. That shield is going to buy you a lot of HP and defensive abilities, especially since it's a Seraphim shield. That sucker takes forever to build, but once it's online, you've got a whopping 13k health in a very large bubble, so you should be able to take care of yourself quite well. That's like having a whole nother ACU. You've just doubled your health bar. Viper's still bearing down on Clinch, and Clinch is actually doing a pretty good thing here. He's got mobile missile launchers of his own, which some people don't think about, but mobile missile launchers are actually a direct counter to mobile missile launchers. You have to keep yours mobile, otherwise that happens. So he is going to pull those back. Pillars are moving in to try and do some damage. Unfortunately, pillars are inferior to rhinos in equal numbers when you're looking at it like this, but the rhinos cost more, so pillars are superior in mass equivalent numbers. And there's a beautiful overcharge right there, taking out a couple of tanks at once. That's one thing you've got to look at when you're looking at units on Supreme Commander, because units are almost never on a 1-to-1 ratio with each other, because some units cost way more. Pillars are by far the cheapest T2 tank, and they're the best as far as damage, HP, mass cost ratios go. The Ilshivas have the longer range, the Obsidians have the massive HP and damage advantage, and the Ilshis and the Obsidians cost way more. So once you start totaling up what all of your units are actually capable of, you've got to do that mass equivalency comparison, and Jolly may or may not have overextended here. Zlo is getting awfully low on health. Oh! No! Jolly pulled out a TAC pack launcher, surviving that ACU nuke with 1,000 health on the nose. That was brutal. I saw the trail right out of the corner of my eye when the ACU started moving. I'm glad I didn't miss that one, but holy cow. That is, I'm not sure if this is the beta patch or not. I am so glad that this is getting fixed on the beta patch, because if that was, it was point blank enough and it was on the nose enough that that isn't a broken mechanic. Zlo stood still too long and he took a TAC missile to the face. That is a legit death. But the Seraphim TAC launcher in the old balance was a bad thing, because it's got 3 area of effect and you can shoot right at the feet of your ACU. So Yeah, I'm glad that's fixed. But good kill, solid kill from Jolly. It is sad to see Zlo go, though. And now we have a 2,000 and a 2,200 on the Southern team ready to go. Now there's a T2 shield going up for Jolly. That means we have good protection on all three of these guys with multiple shield gens. Of course, Cyb shields are weaker, so when you're Cyber, you need to build a couple of them, although he's power stalling at the moment. Pushing that T3 land, that is probably why. But yeah, there's a lot of Corsairs building up in the back here, so we may or may not see an air snipe. Not entirely sure. Silver Chronos has got the shield upgrade. It was not Chrono Dampener, so he has that awesome amount of HP in that personal shield. That's going to give him a lot of survivability. He can pretty much tank anything that the other team throws at him at this point, although there are sniper bots lining up to take pot shots at that commander, so he's going to have to keep a careful eye. Once that shield goes down, there's not a whole lot of HP between him and Nuclear once those sniper bots start firing. Got a little bit of a push on this side, which apparently completely stalled. Thanks to the extra health on that shield generator, the smaller group of pillars is actually going to have a pretty good chance against these guys, but not if they rush in without the shield support. Need to stay inside that handy dandy little bubble. And yeah, there we go. Alright, I was about to think that it was going to be bad news for the right hand side, but it looks like that was a good solid denial of entry from Clinch. On the southern side, Silver Chronos has decided to make his move. Bloodier did get the TAC Pack launcher. There is a launch. Let's see how true to aim he is. Yes. No. Okay. This. Not sure what to say about that. I think that was just inside the 3 AoE range, so maybe this is beta patch. Not entirely 100% sure. Silver Chronos, though, is soaking point defense fire with his commander. He is overcharging like a madman towards this shield, trying to break that thing down so all of his units can come in, but I think he's going to fall short. He's going to have to take a knee and retreat. That T1 point defense did him in. He's got to get out of range before those snipers start eliminating him. You can see there's the shield gone, and you can see that huge chunk of health that went missing. That was a single sniper shot. That is what you got to be careful of. Moving back up to the north, lots of trebuchet fire coming in. We've got 2 of those and a brick rolling into the fray now. Trebuchets with that massive area of effect are absolutely perfect for this type of warfare where you have large clumps of T1 and T2 units, because a couple of shots from that and you've got blanket coverage of several thousand DPS total, and that's going to soften up all these units for your own tanks to wipe them out later. Might be seeing a little run by here though. That is unusual. Going to see that Ilsheva get all the way around the backside. Belated Cube is right there waiting though. Have to see what happens there. He's also got Ilshes on the front line. Lots of vicious reclaim going on. I'm sure Silver Chronos has got a lot of mass in his pocket. 12k there. Belated Cube pulling 16. Jolly with 8. Bloodier with 10. Now we've got Ithalus with 6 and Clinch with 7. The 2 dead guys have 5 and 1. So a fair bit of reclaim going on, not too terribly much, but you got to remember that we're also still in the T1/T2 phase with a handful of T3 units. Things have been moving along so aggressively that the tech has really not increased by that great an amount. We do have some Obsidians moving in though. The ACU has retreated to a safe distance and it's recharging that shield, going to hold the front line with some of those more solid units, although yeah, that T3 artillery, you can see the gaping hole that's been blown in that group. That is the strength of the T3 artillery. Whalers on deck. I love Whalers. I've missed these guys. They're going to tear into these Ilshevas and hopefully deny them any serious damage. Corsairs adding to the DPS pile. Looks like that brick is going to make it all the way around the backside edge. T1 point defense is no match for me. I will just power through it with my 375 DPS. On that long range, if you don't have radar coverage, it will just obliterate those things. Actually, those may have already been dead. I'm not 100% sure. But regardless of the circumstances by which that brick was able to get in, and I think the problem is radar coverage, because we have a brick inside range of a T1 point defense right there, and the T1 point defense is not firing. Maybe it's not in range. I don't know. I guess it's not. Just barely outside of range. Having a brick in the back of your base is bad. Throw a few more bees on that pile. And that is overkill like all get out. Sniper bot taking out an Aurora with 140 health. That is just abusive. Alright, brick going down to the combined fire of a Strat Bomber and some Corsairs. Well done, my good sir. Looks like Clinch is diving into this fire base face first. And that's okay, because he has the Commander shield. So as long as he can get inside that shield bubble and kill the Cerberus turrets and or overcharge the shield to death, he should be fine and dandy. As long as he has the gun upgrade, he should be able to do that pretty easily. There is a brick moving up towards the front line and some T2 units descending upon him from the right. But I don't think it's going to be enough to crack that UEF commander. His health is falling a fair bit, but he did bring mobile shields into the fight. It's going to soak a lot of the damage that's being dealt. Problem is, he's still taking trebuchet fire, and now he has pinched in between a couple of bricks and a loyalist. This may actually be too much. His shield is almost down. He does have 1,800 health thanks to a couple of veterancy. Good lord, the trebuchet fire is terrifying. There are shells dropping all around me. Where am I to go? Obviously towards the enemy. That is the correct choice. Actually, it is, because he just overcharged a brick. That's going to eliminate some of the DPS that he's having to deal with. Strat Bombers are online. Belated Cube may pull this game back from the brink of loss with some handy-dandy T3 air. We all know how the Strat Bombers do. Although it looks like he left them untended for too long, and they are going to auto-fire a T1 Mass Extractor. 2 Strat Bombers to kill a T1 Mechs. Might be a little overkill, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Got, let's see. Things have settled somewhat. Not anything quite so vicious going on at the moment. It looks like there's a little bit of a run by trying to happen over here, but it's not going to thanks to those wall sections. You're going to have to focus fire a little bit on those walls to get them out of the way. Either that or bring a T1 engineer up to the front and reclaim them. That always works out quite brilliantly. Clinch getting under that mobile shield once again. In comes the artillery fire, and down goes the shield. Clinch is going to need to get something online to deal with these trebuchets. Here comes the hero pillar. It is not going to be able to kill that thing, though. It's got a veterancy on it. Actually, 2 veterancy. 13 kills on that sucker. And he is going to survive with a whopping 200 health. Live to rain down some fire and brimstone upon another opponent. And there is a T3 tank. The awful Autumn has hit the field. Not quite so awful since the beta patch. That 1 tick of speed is an improvement, even though it is a tiny one, but it is still, I would say, the least desirable of the T3 tanks. Bloateer is now under fire from 4-5 Strat Bombers. I don't know why the Whalers aren't in the fight, because that would be helpful. But even if your dodging skills are superb, it is very hard to dodge the massive 7 area of effect that belongs to the Cybern Bomber. Thankfully, he has the amazing Seraphim mobile shielding. That bought him 10k health, but it's not going to be enough. 1,700 health, 1 more Strat Bomber, and there it is. Bloateer is toasty fried, and that's going to make things interesting now. Because for a while there, I thought that the Southern team was going to roll the North, and it looks like T3 Air coming online is going to buy the North team another chance. However, there are multiple ASF online for the Southern side. Jolly is pushing ASF, and no one else is. So at the moment, Jolly actually has superior air. The problem is he sent out one ASF all by its lonesome. The rest are tagging along in the base. Here comes the interceptors, and I know interceptors are T1 and ASF are tier 3, but when you have 20 of them come into range at the same time, they still pretty much one-shot kill those ASF. So now it's going to be a T3 battle, and we have Ithilus and Jolly on the south, and Belated Cube, Silver Kronos, and Clinch on the north, 3 versus 2. A little bit more time for development up here, but the replay pot is bigger for Jolly. He has got this beautiful chunk. He's got T3 mechs. He's got T3 land factories. Lots of mass to be had. I imagine he is probably getting the T3 upgrade, and if I am correct, he should be throwing down a T4 relatively quickly. You want to get that experimental online as soon as you can spam up the mass to get it. And I think he has just gotten it thanks to the death of Bloateer. Zlo is still in the game offering his assistance. Got an opinion expressed here. Scout Bloateer's base and harass reclaiming NG's sage advice. Jolly has T3 air. Yeah, okay. Cool beans. Always listen to your elders. Maybe not in age, but definitely in rank. Zlo is tied for highest rank in this game, so providing advice to his team is probably a welcome addition to the effort. And he is correct. If you can sneak some T1 bombers in here and eliminate these engineers, that is going to slow down the reclamation of mass by the southern team, although it is already far too late. It looks like he has queued up 2, not 1, but 2 chickens. And those Yuthathas are going to tear a new one in these bases, I have no doubt. It looks like we have a Megalith queued after that power generator. Was that a reclaim? That was a reclaim. Not sure what that was. Probably scouted the Yuthatha and decided that the Megalith was a higher priority than getting the power online, which I don't entirely blame him for. Clinch is still soaking damage from all of those trebuchets with his ACU. I guess he just has a fetish for face injury. Not entirely sure. Although that one was kind of in the side. He's just going to take it. I can stand up to it. I am the mighty UEF commander. We do not bow for anyone. Well, actually, you do bow for Cybern, but don't tell that to Guile and Gorton. Megalith is 16k health and pulling up fast. Problem is, the chicken is already online, and a second one is coming, so I don't think the Megalith is actually going to get built before that Yuthatha shows up. There are a few strap bombers still around, and a tiny handful of T3 units. Nothing sufficient to stop this mess, though. I think Jolly is going to be able to ram this directly through the heart of the northern base without too much opposition. Megalith has cleared 25% build. It is actually closer to 35%, but we're almost into the second Yuthatha down on the southern side. And I would really love to know how to pronounce Yuthatha. I've heard some people say it Yuthoda. I'm just not sure. I do not know. Let me see what we got here. Pick up Jolly. Pick up a T3. Oh, good lord, the sea of green names. Help! Alright. Why THOTHA? Why do Seraphim names have to be so hard to pronounce? I mean, I get that they're aliens and all that, but really? Really now? I think Yuthoda is easy to say. So I'm going to go with Yuthoda. Yuthoda. Harbingers are playing guard duty with Clinch's commander. I think if I were Clinch, I would appreciate my team helping me out a little bit with that. Oh, nice. Just in time. This Yuthoda is going to be able to deny this T2 incursion. The flak is moving forward still, but these T2 tanks are going to die horribly to the reach of the Yuthoda's long-range cannons. That glowy orb area of effect thingy right there is a brutal amount of DPS on a very good range for a direct fire experimental. That is going to tear a new one in that battle group. There is a single rhino left alive, and that Ilsheva is going to dispatch it very, very quickly. That's not a rhino, that's an obsidian. My bad. Whatever. Yes, obsidian, because the turret is an oblivion. I always get those two confused. Not sure how I do, but thank you, Large Cliff, for protecting the Athoda from Strat Bomber fire. Ah, the glory of a simulated collision game. Alright, Strat Bomber's coming in, going to land at least one bomb on the Athoda. It's not perfect, but it is something, I suppose. There's some bricks in the way, which I think are going to get absolutely trampled on. Gatling gun's going to... Well, there we go. A little bit of damage coming in. It is down to about 2/3 health. The problem is it's getting slowed down, and the more it slows down, the more of a chance this Megalith has of coming online. I think it's actually going to make it. I thought this Athoda was going to end this game, but it appears we're actually going to see a Megalith come up and dispatch that thing, unless the Athoda can clear the edge of this shield and land a shot on the center T3 Engie. Because if it can do that, the area of effect will actually kill all of the engineers and stop that Megalith from building. He's got 8,000 health on the uptick to kill it, and it looks like it is not going to make it. 8K, 9K, when this Megalith comes online, that is a dead Athoda. Unfortunately, the damage to the power structures is horrendous. That's going to be all the T3 power that Belated Cube had at his disposal going offline. That means he's only pulling 2K, and a lot of that from overflow from his team. I don't think he actually has resource allocation. I could be totally mistaken on that. I can't tell. I don't think he has. Let's select the ACU and find out. Nope, no resource allocation. So he's pulling overflow from his team. Cool beans. I don't know why Cybran throws me for a loop. Probably because he has the crazy fin things, even when he doesn't actually have a backpack upgrade. Although now that I'm looking at it, I can see, yeah, that is an empty upgrade slot. Athoda kind of occupying the left-hand corner, firing at the dirt. Not sure what he's up to down here. He needs to be moving somewhere to get something done. And it looks like we do have a Monkey Lord on this side as well. Now this is actually a bad idea, because Clinch, does he have his shield online? He does not. So this is a good idea, because with no shield, all that Monkey Lord has to do is get in range, because there's not enough HP to be had on that. Oh my word. How did I miss that? Awasa is in the game. That is bad. Oh my word. The vet is strong on this one if he can continue to land bombs clearing Engies. Oh, engineers are control K'd. That was beautiful. And the Awasa is going to go down, but it's going to go down off map. So I don't think they're going to be able to reclaim it. Oh my word, that could have been horrendous. They're still going to lose a player on this side, but it is not the end of the world, because that Monkey Lord is going to be down to about 10K by the time all of this base dies. Maybe not even that low. 9K. Coolio. I don't think those Harbies are actually going to be able to kill it, but they will come close. Oh, look at that. Harbingers playing Ring Around the Rosie with a Monkey Lord. That was awesome. That is amazing. 2 Harbingers running in circles around the Monkey Lord. Killed it. And that, folks, is why turn rate matters. Alright, so we have a Megalith owned by a person who's essentially had his eco wiped out. And then we have very, very low unit count for someone who has a lot of eco. But he does have some build power, so maybe we'll see a Galactic Colossus or something come online. And Yathoda is just kind of chilling out. So we have another Owasso coming online. Seriously, though, the T1 Engineer Control K right there is one of the better things that I've seen. You have to be on the nose with your Control Ks. Or at the ready. On the nose is the incorrect metaphor to bring up there. Bell would have my hide for that. You want to be able to eliminate the possibility of veterancy. And I cannot tell you how many games I've been in. And, you know, this seems like a weird circumstance, but it actually happens all the freaking time with like 500 to 1200 ranked players. And I'm not dissing them because I'm not dissing you guys because you're low rating. I'm just saying I wish sometimes that you would listen to people that were higher ranked giving you instructions or suggestions, because a lot of times it's in our own self-interest to give you good suggestions because we want to win just as bad as you do. And one of the problems that I run into is people not Control K-ing low rank units. I know you have a huge T1 or T2 army, you have tons of engineers, but it is not worth fighting with your T1 and T2 units if you're vetting the T4. And like I said, I cannot tell you how many times I've had it happen where I'm in a team game and I ping somebody to Control K a group of units and they refuse to do it, instead retreating with them. And I've actually had somebody come back and say, no, I'm not going to Control K my units. And then a Monkey Lord comes up, picks up 3 veterancy off the units that weren't Control K'd, and then it has too much HP for anyone to kill. And that is a horrible way to end a game. So I compliment Silver Kronos on his timely Control K of all his T1 engineers, because what he was doing was the Owasso did not drop. So what could have happened didn't happen, but the preventative measure was correct. If that Owasso had dropped a bomb and hit all those T1 engineers, it would have vetted, and it would have gained several thousand HP and possibly survived the ASF that were tailing it, because Owassos actually have surprisingly strong anti-air capabilities. They have a really good cannon on them. And so if you only have 5 or 6 ASF and the Owasso suddenly gains 8,000 HP, I'm not sure exactly what the veterancy rung is on it, but that's that would be my guess. If the Owasso suddenly gains 8k HP, then there's a very good possibility that that Owasso will be able to kill off those 4 or 5 ASF that are trailing it. Whereas if you don't Control K the T1 engineers, or if you do Control K the T1 engineers and the Owasso does not vet, as you could see, they just barely had enough ASF to clean up that bomber before it did anything too terrible. Well, I say that. There is a large crater here that is saying otherwise, but honestly, that could have been much, much worse. However, here comes another bomber. That was the air engagement that eliminated all the ASF. Here comes a bomber with a good turn after wiping out all those mass extractors, and I think this is going to be GG, because there's not really anything else on the table for the northern team to draw on as far as trying to kill off units, and this megalith is over here busily vetting up on T1 engineers. At this point, it doesn't really matter, but that is exactly what I am talking about. And Owasso is going to need to wing in for those power generators. It looks like Belated Cube is getting the Telemaser upgrade. This is going to be good if he can get that upgrade. It is proceeding rather slowly, but he still has his 2 power generators online and a couple of mass extractors. So I think, theoretically, he can still get the Telemaser upgrade. Come on, come on. I'm rooting for you, bud. You got to teach these 2,000 rated players their place. That Owasso is going to come in. Looks like he was targeted on the commander, but did not quite get the bomb drop in. I'm going to head over to the right and land a shot on that megalith. Not sure what that was all about. But Belated Cube, it looks like, is actually going to be able to get that upgrade. Very, very slowly, just a little bit at a time, but it looks like it's going to happen. Vet on that brick. Nicely done. He's going to start tearing into those power generators, but hi-yo, the megalith. And take that booger out. And here comes another failed bomb. Wow. Jolly, what's happening to you? I would have expected better micro than this. There's been about 5 passes that have not successfully dropped a bomb. Oh, Belated Cube throwing down the laser upgrade now. That's going to go much, much quicker. It is, I think, like a quarter the cost of the teleport upgrade. Let's see. Teleport is 1.5 million power, 15k mass. And this is only 500,000 power and 4,000 mass. So it's about a third the energy price to get Mazer over teleport. So we got the expensive one first. He's going to clear the inexpensive one. And if we can get a scout, he may actually be able to get a successful kill. We got T1 point defense going down for Jolly, but Belated Cube has nothing really. So if he suicides into Jolly for a successful kill, that is actually a worthy trade, because Ithless does not have enough to deny the force from this. The only loss is going to be this Megalith, but it is within easy reclaim reach, so we'll just have to see what happens. Belated Cube has finished his upgrades. Stop making Mazer. Okay, I be done soon. I won't make Mazer. Oh my word. Funny, funny. Bomber coming in to deal some preemptive damage to that ACU. That means he's going to start with only 5k health. He's teleporting right next to Jolly. Oh no! He's not going to make it. Oh, that was good timing on that bomb. That could have ended terribly. Oh, don't stress me out like that. Okay. Owasso for the win. And that, folks, is why you build buttloads of T1 point defense next to your commander when you see a Cybern ACU getting upgrades this late in the game. We're about to clear 40 minutes here, and it is now 2 versus 1, and I don't really see how Silver Kronos is going to be able to pull a win out of this. Let's bump up the speed just a couple of ticks and see where it takes us. We've got engineers headed directly for all of this reclaim. Harbies on the southern side are going to get disintegrated by this Yathoda. Not a whole lot they can do about it. Harbies, again, going back to the mass for mass comparisons, Harbingers are inferior by the same numbers to Percivals and Bricks. So you just got to have more of them, and the numbers were not sufficient on that. I think it's like 19 bricks or 19 bricks or Percivals, 20 bricks or Percivals, something like that, to a Yathoda. So that means that it would be 30 Harbingers or so, which 30 Harbingers would obliterate a Yathoda, I think. All right, T3 mobile artillery with an accompanying stealth. That's going to move into firing range over here. Looks like we got SAMs going down for those engineers. That was not actually a move for the reclaim on the Megalith. Looks like we're control Kang land factories getting reclaim in the base. Silver Kronos is horrifically stalled. Only pulling in. Well, now he's pulling in a lot. I cannot see his steady mass income. We will forget about it. Oh well. It's not that much. He's got a few T3 mechs, but a lot of T1s on his expansions and some T2s as well. He did get his eco bombed out just a few minutes ago, if you remember that. The Tsar looks like it may get made, though, strictly due to the fact that the Megalith is going to take a long time reaching here. Paragon, bore the enemy to death. He's right. This is getting to be kind of a slow late game. We've got lots of strap bombers building up for Jolly. It looks like we're about to see a finishing blow thrown out. Still more Yathodas coming online. We've got 2 moving into the base now, and a 3rd and 4th building in the home base. Megalith coming in. It's gonna be so close. 8k, 58k, and moving to the Megalith. That's a full health Megalith, and it's about to vet though, so that's gonna cause issues. There's no way he can kill all 3 T4s in time. Although that is a terrifying amount of damage to have a donut drop on you. ASF moving in. Yeah, there's a lot of SAMs. I don't think that Tsar would survive, but here comes the Owasso and all the strat bombers. One way or another, this ACU is going to die. Silver Chronos does have the personal shield, which is going to give him some survivability, but not enough, I'm afraid. Megalith is going to go down, but that leaves 2 Yathotas and a lot of strat bombers. Silver Chronos, you have made a valiant effort. Dodge! 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 Or you can just take all the damage to the face and shrug it off like a badass because you have a personal shield. Those Sams tearing a new one in those bombers. That was actually an impressive amount of dodging. Holy cow. Silver Chronos shedding health rapidly, though. That Yathoda landing shots. Wow. For a second there, I thought he was actually going to make it. That would have been hysterical. I mean, granted, he's going to die anyway, because look at it. Just look at the map. But he almost survived that. That is fantastic. All right, guys. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed that. I love the high-rated games. I mean, I love all games. I like the mid-range games and all of that stuff, but there's something about these high-rate players that they pull the weirdest crap sometimes, and you see outside the box solutions to ordinary problems. And you know, you see the aggressive Aeon commander over here, you see everybody dropping personal shield, clinch single-handedly holding back a sea of trebuchets with only his ACU. It's pretty cool. You gotta admit, it's pretty cool. And kudos on the map, Bloodthrones. I think you did a pretty dang good job. The name of the map is Bloodthrones, right here in the top right corner for those of you who want to go download it and give it a play. It's kind of like Thermo, but not as sucky. So yeah, that would be my description. I mean, no offense to Bloodthrones, but that looks like what texture pack he used. It is a well thought out map, though. All right. That is going to wrap it up for this cast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it quite thoroughly. Please pay attention in the description to the social media links. I'm trying to collect some more replays and also get in touch with you guys and talk to you a little bit more. So I've got Twitter, Facebook, and email posted down there. You can contact me through any of those with replay IDs, and I would be more than happy to watch your games and possibly cast some of them. And then, as always, I will see you guys on Thursday for another regular cast. And then this Saturday, I may be bumping the schedule up just a little bit. I've got something I have to go to Saturday night, but I'm still going to try my absolute best to squeeze in a live cast like I normally do, because I know you guys enjoy that. We'll just see what happens. If I can't, then I will post a third cast for the week. Alrighty, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next cast.